If I asked you this little question, how would you react? How would you respond? If you had to go and pull all information on a specific client because say they called you and wanted to find out where their tax return was, or maybe where they're at in onboarding into your services, or if they had an update on their email or mailing address, how would you know where to go to update that information or to find the details that you're looking for? Well, if you're anything like the practice owners and the small practices that we have worked with at Workflows for Tax Pros, then the answer might be, well, it depends. And that's definitely not the best answer, because when we don't have a central source of information, we spend a lot of time and energy hunting down details, hunting down information about our clients, and that can be a huge time waste. So in today's training, I want to show you how having a centralized source of truth can really transform the way that you and your small practice are running. And I want to give you a few tips and show you some tricks in how you can do that in a centralized, automated workflow system like TaxDome, which is a practice management tool. If we haven't had the chance to meet yet, I'm Jamie Gruhl, and after helping over 500 tax and accounting practices implement automation with TaxDome, I can confidently say that automation is the only way to increase your profit and time freedom in your practice. I want to start by sharing with you why a centralized source of truth is so critical. Well, as I shared at the beginning of this video, the key to being efficient in managing your clients is to have one source of truth. How often do we pick up a project, start working on something, and then all of a sudden you find a discrepancy between tools? How do you and your team know exactly where to go to get the information that you're looking for? And so by having a tool like TaxDome, which is a practice management tool, you're able to know that my TaxDome is my source of truth. Now, how do we determine that? Well, you as the business owner get to make the decision and set the policies around that. And that is not a small feat, but it is a small step towards having better efficiency. So by saying, I am making the declaration today that TaxDome is now our source of truth, then you're able to ensure that when your team, when somebody calls up and says, hey, I have a new address or I have a new phone number, they're not going and putting it in some old Excel spreadsheet. They're going and they're putting it into TaxDome, because that is where you all go to get the information you need for your client. So that is the first step, a really critical one. And it doesn't take a lot of effort to determine what your source of truth is going to be. Just make the declaration. Now, the next thing that's really valuable in the maintenance of your now source of truth is that you have SOPs, which are standard operating procedures. And what SOPs do is they help you, as well as your team, maintain a specific set of standards for how you're going to manage and maintain your now source of truth. And so I want to show you a couple ways in TaxDome in which we can do this really efficiently and make sure that this information is always at our fingertips when we need it. So the first thing that we can do is that we can, if we're utilizing the really powerful automated pipelines in TaxDome, which pipelines in TaxDome are a workflow. So it's the point A to point B being your end result that you're going for, of the process that you're taking a client through, whether it's onboarding or it's tax preparation or monthly recurring bookkeeping or weekly payroll, it doesn't really matter, but pipelines allow us to break down those processes and automate the steps that take us through each of the stages to get to that desired end result. And so in TaxDome, what we can do is we can leverage what we call tasks to not only tell us exactly when we need to be doing the work for a given client based on where they're at in the process, but it also allows us to build in SOPs. And SOPs, again, standard operating procedures, let us tell our team or even ourselves a quick reminder of our best practice, our process of doing the thing. So for example, this is a task for tax preparation, which can get assigned out to tax preparation team member, yourself, an assistant. Anybody that is designated to do this task can be assigned this task for a specific client. So let's say that client Mr. and Mrs. Jones have delivered their documents to us, and now we want to have this task go out to our team member, in this case it's me, to review the client documents, and if there's any missing documents, add a tag. Well, what we can do in TaxDome is we can tell the team member that is receiving this task what we're intending for them to do, review the documents, set a baseline review. You could actually build into this what a baseline review would look like, what order you want the documents in, but then we can actually give them a step-by-step of how we want them to perform that. Maybe it's the title we want them to put on the documents. Maybe it's the file types we want them to convert them into. Maybe it's the order we want them to put the documents in your PDF editor. Whatever that looks like for your practice and the reviewing the documents in preparation for the preparing of the actual return. Maybe it's entering even data into your software in preparation for the return to be prepared. Whatever that looks like, you can build it into your SOPs and your tasks in TaxDome. So then the cool thing is, if you ever decide to hire part-time help, maybe you have this huge influx, you become famous in your town and everybody wants to work with you and you're like, yes, this is my chance to shine. And you have an assistant that you're able to bring on. Well, by having the SOPs built into your tasks, you're able to onboard somebody quite quickly. This could give them 80 or 90% of what they need to do in that role without you having to sit down and train them for each and every step of the process. It gives you a lot more leverage in using the tool to take off some of the burden of doing the mind dump from you into their mind because you've already put it into your system. Now, we help people build these systems out so that it's easy and seamless to be able to implement these tools into their own small practice. And what we have found is that the practices that do this are the ones that can then make the determination, do I want to scale? Bring on more team members, or am I really happy where I'm at and maybe get in a little bit of part-time help here and there? You're able to make those determinations with a lot more confidence because your systems are already set up to support your future states. All right, so that is one way that you can share SOPs in TaxDome. Now, the other one that I wanted to call out is the use of wiki pages. Now, wiki pages in TaxDome are kind of like an internal web page. It really is a living document that is available to your team members and people that have access to TaxDome. So it's kind of like Google Docs, right? But it's right baked in within TaxDome. You can find it under Documents and Wiki, and we can actually create SOPs that give us framework and the guidance to be able to have our team members go and take the action we want them to take. Now, this is important because, as you can see here, this one is the updating of an account detail for an individual account. So this is somebody is onboarding, goes through our new lead management process. And once they say, yes, I want to work with you, this is how the accounts need to be updated and or creating new accounts and making sure that they have the right tags to be able to trigger our automations in our tool. So we can create SOPs using wiki pages as well. And that, again, the intention is to get it all out of your head and documented so your team can take the proper action that's going to get us the end result that we want. That's what standard operating procedures do, is it allows us to make sure that the expectations that we have are able to be delivered because our team has the information they need to do it. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about is operational efficiencies. Now, there's several different operational efficiencies that I want to talk about in TaxDome. The first one being sort codes. So this is a method that we've come up with in Workflows for Tax Pros that is really critical to your success. Now, I can tell you that we have had a ton of people come back to us and they have said, I wish I had listened to you because I didn't implement sort codes and now I have a mess on my hands and I don't know what's what. And so we have been really adamant about sort codes from the very beginning of Workflows for Tax Pros all the way back 3+ years ago now. And they're a game changer because what sort codes do is they allow you to be able to quickly and easily manage not just task templates, but the templates that you are creating within your TaxDome system. So under tasks, you can see here, I have these 4 letters that get added to the front of my task. And this is just for tasks. You can do the same thing for emails and chats and any other ones that you use. But we use these because we know how important this is. Code is the first 2 letters are the reference to the service or the workflow that it's associated with. So RP being representation. Now the slash then the next 2 letters represent the role that is responsible, in this case, for this task. And so representation by the tax office, meaning that it is, a tax office could be an administrative role. It could be, it's just a generic role within the tax office, but this gives you details. And then when you click sort, you can see that it sorts all of my representation templates into one section. So I quickly can assess what this task belongs to not only here in the templates, but also when they end up in my inbox, maybe on my insights with a task due, it gives me a lot more detail and information. Now, this is something that Workflows for Tax Pros came up with, and it is a game changer. So you definitely want to adopt that into your small practice this year. Now, the other thing that is important for operational efficiencies is the use of tags. Now, tags are also very critical to being able to identify and segment your client list. Now, you can also use tags in time entries, tasks, and contacts, but we don't use them so much for that, but you can absolutely do it. So what you're going to find is that if you go into a client and you have added the appropriate tags, you can hover over this little bubble here and it shows you all the tags associated with that client. You can see quickly, they are a C Corp, they is a business account, this is a virtual client, they're a returning client, they do tax prep and bookkeeping with us. All of these tags are able to tell us the story of this Acorn Craft account. So tags also are operational efficiency because you don't have to dig into the detail of the account or pull up your brain to get the historical information. And you can also onboard new team members and they can quickly assess what type of client am I looking at, not only for filtering ability, but also for storytelling. Those are the three things that I think are really important for you to consider in moving into a central source of truth in your small practice. And having a tool like TaxDome allows that to happen so easily, so smoothly, and it will allow you to transition into automated operations, which will give you so much more profit, so much more time freedom, because it's going to get rid of a lot of the redundant day-to-day administrative tasks that are just grinding you. You want to just burn it all down. So if you're ready to say goodbye to all of those administrative tasks, start living a life that's a bit more peaceful, one where you can focus on your family and your hobbies and the things that you love to do, not just work and not just administrative tasks in your business, I want to invite you to a special event we're holding on May 15th. This is a live training that we're going to be hosting where we're going to be sharing the benefits of automated operations and how implementing automated operations can help you and your small practice see an increase of 20% in profit and time freedom this year if you follow our methods. So I want to make sure that you are there and coming and joining us. Even if you're just now starting to think about automated operations, we're going to be sharing a lot of really great content around how to make the transition, what you need to be doing to make that transition, and how we at Workflows for Tax Pros can help you make that happen this year. So be sure to look below this video and you will find our link to go and register for this webinar. We look forward to seeing you on May 15th, and we can't wait to share with you all the power of automated operations so that you can have more profit and time freedom this year. Have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.